What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Not So Pro Football Talk. Dizzle, F you, and I hope the rest of you guys are having such a great day today. I'm reading all your comments, and boy, oh boy, do I have some comments about you and your stinky Celtics, my man. Game 3 belonged to the Pacers, dude. It did not belong to the Celtics. If you were even remotely watching the game, it's some baloney and how the calls were. I mean, I get it. It's the NBA. It's soft. But call it both ways, my man. Call it both ways. It was just ridiculous towards the end. They were literally like, oh, Celtic. It was just crazy bad. But we'll get to that too in a bit. Today, we will be ranking the NFC West by position. So we're going to be talking about quarterbacks. Who has the best quarterback rankings, and then wide receivers and some defensive players, defensive line, safeties, linebackers, so on and so forth. We just thought it was appropriate to do the NFC West today to start it off, kick us off, because obviously I'm a Niners fan, Vince is a Seattle Seahawks fan, and Reed is Senior Toxico, and he loves to be toxic in this chat. Not just in the chat, it's off the field as well, guys, so don't you worry. But hey, dude, 2-mile run at a 6:04 pace, that's actually pretty good, Dizzle. Really good. Maybe you should hit the weight room, but keep that speed up. Never got pancake, by the way. Ever. Never got pancake. Lowest man wins, my friend. And I'm already short as it is. And I was always the lowest man. And I gotta adjust some of these comments, okay? Because then Dizzle's gonna start complaining. Oh, you guys are big mainstream now. You guys don't mention every comment. This is not the Niners' last window for the Super Bowl. It's not. Okay, that's just the reality. What was that, Reed?
It's your last year as far as your largest window. Yes,
this is our largest window. Sure, if you want to say that.
Next year it does get smaller.
Who are we losing next year?
I mean, you have to pay Brock Purdy.
Okay, but who are we losing?
Okay. All right.
This okay. I will give you that. It could be our largest window here, but our window's not closing. Window's not closing whatsoever. From the Jonathan wants to know. Nobody wants to know. The Celtics are winning Game 3. They were just hanging. No, dude. Game 3. If you watch, you watched that game. It was a bunch of baloney towards the end. Not so looking good. He's already starting off. We're late. Reed, you want to pull up the chart? So that's looking good. He's already here. It says QB Niners, wide receiver Niners, tight end Niners, running back Niners, D-line Niners. Should I keep going? I think you should. Not so looking good. I think you should. But I already know that Vince is going to share a few words here. Losing talent because everyone getting old. NFL is a short lifespan for non-QBs. That's absolutely right. Check the ages for all of our positions. They're at their prime. They're not at their decline just yet. They're at their prime. Guys, you guys have anything to say before we get started? I feel like I've been rambling on here.
No, I don't think I have anything to say.
Nah.
I'm excited to do these here and be toxic as they say I am. Quotation marks.
It's about to get good, you guys, because we're starting off with quarterbacks here.
Starting off strong.
We are. So, obviously, in the quarterback position, I'm going to start off with Brock Purdy, my guy. I'm going to have Brock Purdy number 1. I think he's solid. A year and a half, what Reed likes to say. Reed is already doing his thing over here.
I'm just throwing him up there. We haven't ranked him.
Okay. So I got Brock Purdy number 1. I think
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I think he's proven a lot already for what he's done in the league. And then if you want to talk about stats, like how Reed was talking about last time with Jordan Love, this guy is a stat machine. I just think that he's just going to continue to get better and better and better as the years go on. Number 2 for me, I'm going to have Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is number 2 for me, just because look how long he's been in the league, right? He's done great things out there in Detroit. He's won a Super Bowl out there in LA. I think he's a superb quarterback. I do feel like he's on the decline. You got to watch out for those injuries. It seems to be a lingering thing these past few seasons. So that's one worry there. But if we're ranking all time, I'm going to have Matthew Stafford coming in as number 2. Now, number 3 for me, I'm going to have Geno Smith here. Okay, everyone wrote this guy off, and I hate using that term because I'm not a Seahawks guy, but I'm calling it as how it is. And Geno Smith has done a lot with what he's got. And a lot of you guys might say, oh, he has Tyler Lockett. Oh, he has DK Metcalf. But sometimes it's the quarterback that defines these wide receivers. DK Metcalf, absolute freak of nature, has bricks for hands sometimes what it seems like, but he's also a hothead. If Geno Smith could help and could manage that and look at the great things that he's done with that team, might as well give him props. You know, he does have Tyler Lockett, but you look after that, what does he have? You know, a revolving door of tight ends. Got to give it to Geno Smith. And then after that, obviously, lastly, I got Kyler Murray out there. Not a big fan of his. The only thing I do like about him is that he gets to extend plays just by a little bit, just enough to do whatever he can do, right? I don't think he's very accurate. I just think he heavily relies on one wide receiver the whole season. So those are my rankings, guys. What do y'all have?
Vincent, you want to go next?
Yeah, you go next.
Oh, I go next?
Yeah, go next.
All right, sorry. All right. So for me, I'm putting the Niners at the top with Brock Purdy. He has shown that he is the best quarterback as of right now. Matthew Stafford, as he can be healthy, I can see him having better stats than Brock Purdy potentially this year. With him having Cooper Kupp and I'm losing his name.
Come on, raise your favorite.
Come on, dude.
Puka Nacua. There we go. Nacua. There. I think he can put up some really good stats this year if he stays healthy. He's got a good running back room behind him. So I can definitely see him even surpassing Brock Purdy potentially, but I have to put Brock Purdy right there right now. And then after that, I'm sorry, Vincent, I'm putting the Cardinals, Kyler Murray right there. I do think as a talent-wise, he is better than Geno at this point. Geno had a great that year. I was a big Geno lover. I was singing his praises with you, Vince. All right, I was there. All right, but I think he's declining. He does have a great wide receiver room, so I can definitely see him having better stats. But I'm going to put Kyler Murray above him right now. Murray, he's coming off that injury. He could potentially do some really good stuff. We'll see.
Oh my dude, Dizzle just called you a bum, bro.
I'm forgetting names. I'm losing my memory. I'm turning into my dad slowly.
The Not So Looking Good says ain't no way Kyler over Geno.
Mm-hmm.
Vincent's turn. Maybe he'll emphasize on that.
Let's go, Vince.
So, of course, Brock Purdy is going to be fighting for that top spot for me. I do think I agree with Reed that if Matthew Stafford has a healthier season with the type of wide receiver core and the tight end core that he has there in LA, I think he can overtake Brock Purdy as of stats-wise. But yeah, that is crazy. But yeah, so right there, I'm with Brock Purdy as of last year's stats. Going into this year, I think Matthew Stafford will overtake that as long as he's healthy. But after that, I'm going to have Matthew Stafford as the second tier option there for the quarterback position as of last year's stats. And of course, I'm not going to be super biased, but I think that Geno barely scrapes by Kyler Murray as of talent-wise. The only thing that Kyler Murray does better is scramble. But Geno's still pretty fast. So you compare him to the speed of other quarterbacks, he's still pretty fast because he's tall and he has long legs. But he's just a way better passer. Yes, he has a greater wide receiver core depth, like AJ was saying, along with the tight ends that we use and the new offenses that we've been playing the past few years. But Kyler Murray just shows that he's not that much better than these like lower tier quarterbacks, if that's what you're calling Geno Smith. But yeah, I think Geno Smith is just above Kyler Murray even going into this next year. And 5'8" cannon. Yeah, apparently he's 5'10" according to his stats, but sure, bud.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's mine.
Okay.
This is freaking crazy, dude. This guy wants to put Kyler Murray above Purdy and
Oh
Geno
my
Smith.
gosh.
I don't know what kind of drugs you're on out there, Dizzle, but you better bring the same energy whenever we're drafting on some of these mock drafts coming up. Also, a top 10 MLB draft pick hits nukes. All right. That is our quarterback ranking. Let us know if you agree or disagree. Obviously, Dizzle strongly disagrees. We're going to run into the running back position. You see what I did there? You run right into the truck competition, right? And you guys already know I got to start off with the 49ers and Christian McCaffrey, bro. Christian McCaffrey is probably the best running back in the league. He's probably the best running back in the league right now. And so I'm going to stick with Christian McCaffrey. That's just who I am. If you're like, oh, without Christian McCaffrey, who are they? They got Elijah Mitchell. They got Jordan Mason. Those guys are absolute freaks, but didn't get to see too much time of the day just because you got Christian McCaffrey there, right? You got a Ferrari. Why would you put a Corvette in if you got a Ferrari? That's just what I'm saying here. All right. Okay, up next. This is kind of hard for me. This is hard. But if I had to rank him, I don't like doing this to my boy. I don't like doing this to him. Oh, so I'm not going to do it. I'm going to keep it as is. I'm putting my boy James Conner, number 2. Okay, I love James Conner. I've been a James Conner guy since day one. Love his story, and I love the way he plays the game, right? He's a pass-catching back who could also ground and pound when he needs to. Okay, now number 3, I'm going to put this out there, all right? I'm going Kyren Williams and Blake Corum. I have a lot of high hopes for Blake Corum. I'm a Michigan guy. Love Michigan. Go blue. But Kyren Williams surprised a lot of people. There's not a lot of athletes who are that short and that slow to have that much success in the NFL. Now, just like the quarterback position, these teams are freaking stacked in the running back position as well. That's why it's very hard for me to put the Seattle Seahawks at dead last as far as this division. But I think the only thing that keeps me there, because I love Kenneth Walker, I really don't like him because he's a Michigan State guy. Zach Charbonnet, also an extreme talent, but year after year, it's just injuries that riddle these guys. So you really don't get to see the full potential of what the Seattle Seahawks could do on the ground. So that's why I have my rankings there. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Reed, I believe you are batter up.
All right, so I obviously have to put the Niners as number 1 as well. Unfortunately, Christian McCaffrey is a hell of a back, going to potentially go down as one of the greatest running backs of all time at this point. We'll definitely see what he can do this year to cement that. But yeah, Christian McCaffrey, the 49ers have to go number 1. Behind that, you got Debo and other guys, but it's really just CMC versus the world. Nets, for me, I am going to have to stick. It's a toss-up for me between the Seahawks and Rams at number 2 and 3, and I put the Cardinals at 4. I love James Conner, but I think he's going to hit his ceiling, or he's going to hit the floor this year. I don't know which one you call it, but I don't think he's going to have that good of a year this next year, just as running backs' lives go. I think he's going to hit the downslope, in my opinion. Just my guess right now. I wouldn't call it Spidey sense, Trey. But right now it's in between the Seahawks and Rams for me at number 2. I think I'm going to land with the Seahawks at 2 and Rams at 3.
All right.
Wow. I appreciate that, Reed. I appreciate that. Of course, San Francisco and McCaffrey are number 1. That's no doubt for the running back room. But here I'm going to go off of running back rooms and what they've established either in the NFL or their last year of college. So next, I have the Rams. Blake Corum along with Kyren Williams, if he can stay healthy, that's a crazy duo of a room. So I just think that they are going to go into this year, and they showed last year that when they're on the field, they are pretty much unstoppable with the line that the Rams have. So I'm taking that into factor. The Rams have a great running back room. Next, I'm going to go with the Seahawks just because we have that duo of Kenneth Walker as our power back in between the tackles. He can run a little bit outside the tackles, but he's not so quick. But then we have Zach Charbonnet, who's an elite pass catcher. Not so much like Christian McCaffrey-esque, but he's getting there. He's still learning. He's got a new system to learn here, which is going to be pass heavy, so he should be utilized a lot more. And yeah, that's why I have him 3rd. Sadly, I have James Conner and the Cardinals at last, just because he doesn't have a lot behind him. The O-line is still a work in progress there. Kyler Murray holds onto the ball and pulls it away from him when he's probably not supposed to. But James Conner just doesn't get the love that he should when he was possibly should have stayed with the Steelers, in my opinion. I think he would have got a lot of work there. But it is what it is. So the Cardinals just don't treat him well. His stats are great. Don't get me wrong. I think his stats are better than any running back we've had since Marshawn Lynch. But, I mean, James Conner is just a good running back. He's versatile, but he has nobody else to help him there. So I think he would be so much better with some help on that line.
Obviously, I'm beating out here. My poor James Conner. He's getting up there in age. These guys are some non-believers this upcoming season. We'll see about that. I hope they're wrong. But at the same time, I really hope the Cardinals don't find any success this upcoming season. But yeah, it's absolutely stacked in all positions. Now we're going to do a complete, 180 over here, the O-line position. Ooh. I think our division is horrible in the O-line position, and it is just absolutely horrible. Right, I don't like it, or I'm not even a big fan of the Niners O-line. I love the guys there, I do, but that's one position I want to address in the draft, which we did not, unfortunately. But hey, you know what? I'm gonna have to stick with the Niners. It could be a little biased as the best O-line there. And, a big part of it has to do with big boy Trent Williams. Okay, so I love Trent Williams. He's the best in the game right now, and he's gonna go down in history as one of the best. Moving on, this is where things start getting sticky, right? I really don't like this. I'm stuck between two teams here. But at the end of the day, I think I'm going to give the slight edge to the LA Rams, right? They did hold a solid O-line, and they did have a great run game last year, and they did address the O-line this offseason. So obviously that's a priority for them. It should be. They have a solid offense, so why not, revamp that O-line? Up next, I will go with the Seattle Seahawks here. So I'm keeping the Seattle Seahawks there. They made some moves. They got my boy Laken Tomlinson out there on the O-line. I think he's going to do a lot of justice for them, unfortunately. So I'm going to give them third, and the Cardinals dead last. They just have so much to address, and O-line is a big part of it.
All right, I'll go next. AJ, I agree with you on everything except one thing, and that's putting the Niners at number one. Your offensive lineman is just carried so hard by Trent Williams. If you remove Trent Williams from the offensive line, you might be talking about over here type of bad, in my opinion. But you guys are at number two because of Trent Williams. I put the Rams at number one. They made great acquisitions on the guard with adding Jackson and Dotson onto their guard positions for this next year, locking them up for long-term deals. So they're looking potentially to be good for the next few years. So I think Matthew Stafford and that running back room with Kyron Williams and et cetera is going to have a pretty clean, good pocket this year to work with. And then the Seahawks, number three, ain't a whole lot to talk great about. And then the Cardinals, it's just abysmal over here. Kyron's going to be, as usual, scrambling for his life, trying to make things happen.
Not bad. I'm going to agree with Reed here at number one. I think the LA Rams just have that good age of linemen. So they have linemen who are seasoned, but not too seasoned. I do think that, of course, Trent Williams is probably still the best lineman out there out of all these rosters. But again, you can only do so much with one guy. I think what really helps the 49ers is having those tight ends and wide receivers as blockers, because they do run a lot outside of the tackles. And I think they have a little bit more success there when they do that. Just because they have George Kittle, they have a couple other guys on the wide receiver core like Debo, as well as Ayuk, who block pretty dang well. So I think that's what really helps them. So I think overall, as a blocking team, I would give the edge to the 49ers. But if we're just talking strict O-line here, no tight ends, no wide receivers assisting, no fullbacks assisting like Kyle Juszczyk, I'm going to give it to LA and then give it to San Francisco. I was going to put the Seahawks above San Francisco here just because of everybody having a little bit more skill set. on this O-line, but we just don't know who our center is going to be. Is it going to be Oluwatimi, or is it going to be that guy that we got from the freaking Steelers? I think his last name is Harris, but he didn't really start too much. So, yeah, Nick Harris. I don't think that's going to do us well. So hopefully we can figure it out by the time the season starts or preseason starts. But that's why I have us third, just because we're still figuring out where everybody's going to line up. So I have the San Francisco 49ers, the Seahawks after that, and the Arizona Cardinals at last, just because they're super young. They have Paris Johnson on the left tackle position, and I think they drafted someone for their right tackle. But they're still young. They still don't have that cohesiveness, so they can't overtake the Seahawks yet, just with cohesiveness.
Nice. I appreciate that. Like I said, I do like the Niners. They did a lot of switching up this past season in the O-line position. Like Aaron Banks, he was a solidified guy, and then he got injured. And then when he came back from injury, he didn't really look the same. So then the Niners kind of started rotating everywhere. But it is what it is. The Rams always had a good O-line, so I got to give it to them. This guy's just on another level, bro. I don't know what he has just ripped a coach. Look at what he just sent before. Are you like watching us in the shower while you're typing out these comments? I don't know what's going on.
He was pooping earlier, so
maybe he's trying to save the trees, man. He just hopped in the shower real fast.
Probably. It wouldn't surprise me if he's that type of person. But up next, we got the wide receiver position here in this division. What an absolute unit for all teams, really. Maybe not for the Cardinals just yet, but I think number one, I'm going to have to go with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. I got to be real here, right? We're real, right? I could be a little biased at times, but this is an absolute unit in the wide receiver position. I mean, Cooper Kupp was the best, for the past 2 years, but last year he got injured, whatnot, and then all of a sudden you have the rookie of the year, Puka Nacua, is just tremendous, like, amazing. He's just amazing, right? So these two together, it's like she should have no problems putting the ball in the air, no problems whatsoever. After that,
so before you go further, are we assuming Ayuk is still with the Niners?
Ayuk could be with the Niners.
He's, I mean, has he shown up yet?
There's a lot of players and a lot of teams that have not shown up. Are we saying that Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are not with the Bengals? Is that what we're saying? Are they with the?
Can we assume? Can we assume?
What do you want to assume? Put your name on
it. Hey, I'll do whatever you want to do. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Same story, different off season. Brandon Ayuk is going to be with the Niners. Okay. Senor Toxico. This is Senor Toxico right here.
I don't know what it is.
Jeez.
So number one, I got the Rams. Number two, just because you said that, I'm just going to put Deebo Samuel and Ayuk at number two. San Francisco 49ers, because these guys are dynamic and they work well whenever they're both on the field, right? Up next, I haven't even read the comments yet.
It was so good until the end. It was so good. Such a great comment, Dizzle, like a grade A comment, and then you threw in the trash.
Is there a way we can edit the comment so we could take off?
I don't think so. I don't.
Gosh.
Okay. I can only delete it. I don't want to delete it.
Today I thought it was Monday for like the longest time. And then I found out it was Tuesday. I was like, crap. But it is what it is. Yeah. Are we doing fantasy this year? Yes, we do have fantasy signups. We got 4 leagues open so far. One of them is about to be like filled up to the brim. Okay, so we got 2 free leagues. We have a paid league, which is our gold league, and then we have a dynasty league, which is also a paid league. Okay, the gold league is $30 to enter. The dynasty league is $40 to enter, but that enters you for 2 years. And I know what you're thinking. NSP, us, we don't get any of the money whatsoever. 100% of the money goes back to winnings and earnings of the fantasy football players.
There you go. I like it. Fixed it.
It's called dedication to NSP. You are my guys. 9 p.m. Eastern when the mock draft starting. 100 days till football. Mock drafts are starting next month. They're starting next month.
Let's go.
I kind of like the other comment. I kind of like this one.
No, AJ.
Still count me in. Just let me know which one you want to be part of, Israel. If you want to be part of the same one as last year, I believe you're in one of the NSP Blue Leagues or the regular leagues. I'll go ahead and add you into one of those rosters. What's going on, Zombie K98? Another guy who's also committed to our Gold League, which is our paid league. So appreciate you being here, Zombie, as always. Let me continue on. I'm going to have Deebo Samuel and Ayuk as number 2. And then number 3, I'm going to have Lockett and DK Metcalf, another dynamic duo. I think they're awesome. I think their chemistry is it's way different from one another, how they play football. But you got to respect the game because of how athletic they are. And then number 3, of course, I'm going to have Marvin Harrison Jr. And who would I put as number 2? Greg Dortch? Right?
Yeah, I'm confused. Are you putting the Niners as last?
No, I put them as number 2.
Oh, okay. I thought I did.
Wow.
Yeah, that's who I have.
Okay, interesting.
All right, go for it.
So yeah, as you said, this is stacked except the Cardinals. Obviously, the Cardinals are going to be last, just like their entire offense is going to be last, unfortunately. Rams, I'm going to say number 1. Puka Nacua. Yes, I know the name. I know who he is. I'm sorry, Dizzle. Sorry, NSP. I think they are going to be. There's a chance that Cup can get hurt this year, and then it kind of hurts the pool a little bit. But they're still going to be really good. We'll see how they stay health-wise. I think I'm going to do this and put the Seahawks at number 2. DK Metcalf, I think he's a proven threat. He had the fastest speed last year, right? Is that correct, Vince?
Yes, sir.
Fastest guy in the NFL. He's also one of the biggest guys in the NFL. Tyler Lockett, the I will not take a hit at all guy. Refuses to get hit. I'm going to catch the ball and hit the ground as soon as I'm going to get hit by the ground because I'm going to dive at it so hard. He's a really good player. And then what's his name?
JSN.
JSN. Yeah, Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Yeah.
Yes, I know his name. I blanked it. Sorry, guys. I think that's a great trio, one of the best trios, in my opinion, in the entire league. So that's why they land at number 2. Niners, I mean, they just got weapons for their days. It's hard for me to put the Niners so high, AJ, because there's so many other weapons to throw to that the wide receivers don't get that shine that they maybe should. But I think, in my opinion, the Deebo Samuel is a little overrated. I think you've also kind of said that as well a little bit. If he ends up being with them, and I'm assuming he's going to be the 49er with this, he's one of the best NFL wide receivers, but he's also helped because he doesn't get that double triple coverage other wide receiver 1 threats get. And then number 3, I mean, you have what's his name?
Juwan Jennings.
Yes, Juwan Jennings. I love that guy. Great role player. What?
Third and Juwan, yeah.
Third and Juwan.
There we go. Gotcha. And then you drafted the guy in the first
Ricky
round.
Pearsall.
Ricky Pearsall, yes, there you go. Another white guy. The white offense. And then Marvin Harrison Jr., I mean, he has potential to absolutely next year just leapfrog this potentiality, but right now that is the worst wide receiver room in the NFL. In this division, sorry.
I was about to say, not in the NFL. By the way, Jackson Taylor, let us know what you think. We'll be more than happy to revisit that position. It's very interesting our mind and how we work, but it was a toss up for that side. What you got, Vince?
Alrighty, so I think we have the best wide receiver trio in this division, but I do think the Rams have the better duo. If you were to match anybody with DK, whether it be Jackson Smith-Njigba or Tyler Lockett, it would not outdo what the Rams have there with Puka as well as Copper Coop. So I think I'm just going to leave it like that because it says wide receiver. Like, I'm assuming we're doing wide receiver room. So I think we have the best wide receiver room on paper. Stats, I do think that a couple of receivers in this division outdo our number 1 guy. So it's controversial for me to do this. But I just think we have the best opportunity to spread that ball around. We have more threats in the wide receiver room, in my opinion, just because Jackson Smith and Jigba is that third down guy for us now, just as Tyler Lockett used to be. But Tyler Lockett now has the freedom to just go around and, catch the ball whenever he wants to. But Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to be our solidified third down guy. DK, of course, deep threat, big post guy. A lot of in routes from what I'm seeing in our offensive coordinator book this year. So it's going to be nice. I think we should be number one at the end of the day here, but I'm going to go ahead and give it to the LA Rams after that, San Francisco after that, just off of stats. And then, of course, the Cardinals are last. But Marvin Harrison could possibly be all right this year. So we'll see. But just one guy can't do it all. I don't think Zay Jones or what's that other guy's name that popped out of nowhere for a little bit?
And Michael Wilson.
Michael Wilson.
George.
Yeah, Michael Wilson. I don't think they're going to have too much help there for Marvin Harrison Jr., so it should be hard for them to get it going. But yeah, that's just my opinion there. That's what I think.
So far, we have the Cardinals on last in every category, which is really not surprising, right? But up next, we have an interesting one. We got the tight end position. This is kind of hard for me. This is really hard for me. Right. Obviously, I'm one of my favorite players of all time. Gotta go George Kittle, number one. So I got the Niners, George Kittle, number one. And then after that, that's when things start getting a little messy, right? Because you got Tyler Higbee, you got Noah Fant, and then you got a guy who I'm a big fan of, Trey McBride. What do you do here? I think I'm going to have to put Trey McBride last, just because he shared the ball way too much with Zach Ertz. We needed to get to really see his full potential last year. And that's the only reason why I'm doing it. So I got Trey McBride last right now. And now we're stuck with Tyler Higbee. And now we have Noah Fant. I think Noah Fant plays a bigger role. But if I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken here. Didn't they have another tight end last year?
Who?
The Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, we had Kobe Parkinson, Uncle Disley. We also had Everett a couple years ago, if that's who you may be talking about.
I was thinking about Disley because I remember that the Seahawks like to utilize their tight ends a lot. And they utilize their tight ends, not just a tight end, right? Like there'll be some games where like Will Disley was just boom, 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 boom at it. Man, dude, I want to keep it like that. I think Noah Fant's a bigger noise here than Tyler Higbee is on that offense. So I want to keep it George Kittle, Noah Fant, Tyler Higbee, and Trey McBride.
What you got, Reed?
Cool. I'm going to say Niners. After that, I'm okay with putting the Seahawks number 2, Rams, and the Cardinals. Don't got a whole.
All right. Well, I am the tight end guy when it comes to fantasy. So I'm going to go from last to first just to keep it spicy here. I think the Seattle Seahawks have the worst tight end room of this division. Noah Fant, he's decent. Pharaoh Brown, he's doo-doo water. I don't know why we signed him. Maybe it was just for depth. Just because we do like to utilize all of our tight ends. I would not be surprised if we freaking start our third overall guy, which is AJ Barner. I believe he's a young guy that we may have drafted this year, actually. I cannot remember if it was this year or last year. But, yeah, I don't see a world where one of our guys is going to go above 500 yards receiving this year. After that, I think I'm going to go with Tyler Higbee here in third place, just because he was a little bit injury prone this past year. But when he was playing, he was decent. But he's not something that's greater than Trey McBride. I think this past year he had like 80 receptions or something like that. Let me check his stats really fast, just so I don't butcher this really fast. But here we are. Yeah, he had 825 yards receiving on 81 receptions. Pretty much 10 yards a reception. It was pretty dang good for a tight end. So I have Trey McBride at second. And, of course, if we're talking overall tight ends here, I do have San Francisco with first here with George Kittle, because George Kittle, as we know, torches the heck out of the Seahawks every single year, no matter who is guarding him. But he always goes over 100 yards receiving. So I think if they were to use him on a regular basis like that, he is the best tight end in the league, possibly better than what's his name, Kelsey. So that's just what I think here. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt by talent-wise, because George Kittle is just not used as much as I'd like to see him be used as a tight end fan. So that's my ranking there.
That man deserves a ring.
He does. He does.
Can't
Maybe
stand Kelsey, man. Can't stand that dude. Up next, we're shaking things up. We're going on the defense side. We got the cornerbacks here. I think this one's pretty easy for me. Okay. I'm going to go with, the Niners cornerbacks. Charvarius Ward, Mooney Ward. I feel like he's a physical guy. I love watching him against DK Metcalf twice a year. I think that matchup is just amazing. And then on the opposite side of him, we do have Diamador Lenore, who has come such a long way from where he began. So I like that combo. I wish they had a third guy to help him out. But for me, quarterbacks, that's who I am. Up next, I got the Seattle Seahawks over here. I'm a huge fan of Tariq Woolen. I think he's just amazing. I have his rookie card signed. I think that's super cool. I know, right? That's awesome. I like it a lot. And then also they have Devin Witherspoon, who is also transitioning to be someone who's, known in the league. I like the way he plays, very athletic, and I can't wait to see what he does in the future. Up next, last year I had the Rams as the worst cornerback room in the league. And now I might have the Cardinals as the worst quarterback room in the league. So I'm going to put the Rams above the Cardinals here. Can you guys tell me who Sean Murphy Bunting plays for? He plays for one of these two teams with a 50-50 chance.
I have the depth chart pulled up here. He plays for the Cardinals.
Yes, he plays for the Cardinals. I mean, that's just how bad these names are with these two teams. I think it's horrible. Hopefully, the LA Rams, they got another year under their belts. Hopefully, they could show for something. But these are my rankings here.
All right. I would have to agree with you for the most part. I kind of want to put the Seahawks above the Niners. I think they both have kind of similar as far as level of play corners. But I think the Seahawks have a chance of surpassing them, so I'm going to put the Seahawks first. Niners second. I do love Ward and his physicality. I think he's a really good corner, but I think Lenore, he's come a long way. You are right. He used to get bullied a lot, I remember, in games. I do think he's better, but if I remember correctly, he had a great game against the Packers. Is that correct, AJ?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. But I think I'm going to put him at number 2, and then Rams, and then Cardinals, obviously, at last. I'm kidding. Cardinals, you really got to do something. I'm really, really tired of putting it at last place, man.
Well, I think they have an answer for this next position. We're going to talk about safeties here. And
whoa, he doesn't even give me a shot.
My bad. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm going to go quick. Arizona Cardinals are last here for me. The LA Rams are right after them just by a little bit, just because they have a similar group coming back this year. So they might have a little bit more cohesiveness. And then they added Tre'Davious White. So I think that's a possibly really good signing for them. But I think the San Francisco 49ers are going to be second here for me, just because they have not solidified that third spot, like AJ was saying. So it just depends on what packages are going in on the defensive side. But if we're talking a 3 cornerback situation type defense here, I think that was their weakest link. And I know that's what AJ wanted them to attack in either the first or second round, whether it be offensive line or cornerback. So I hope that they can get that figured out for AJ's sake, because I know that was a really big thing in a lot of big games for him with Ambry out there or whoever else was out there getting burned. But I just think the Seahawks are better because we have Michael Jackson, Kobe Bryant, and Trey Brown, who are all rotating in there at that third spot, and Trey Brown was top 3 in pass defense rating in the league with over 100 snaps played as the minimum requirement there. And Michael Jackson and Kobe Bryant are not so bad themselves either, who actually took over Tariq Woolen's spot when he was actually doing pretty bad. So I think overall we have the better cornerback room just as of depth and talent-wise, and as well as the age, because out of all those guys, nobody is above the age of 26. So I think it's awesome. I think we're going to develop really well. And I think this year that's going to be one of our strong points with the new defense that we have with McDonald. So.
All right.
Okay, I can respect that. Yeah, more depth. You guys saw how devastated I was whenever the Niners did not take Kool-Aid.
Yes.
But that's okay. That's okay.
You didn't miss out. You're okay.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't miss out.
The Packers didn't miss out with Cooper DeJean.
No,
it's all right.
I mean, those guys are bums.
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 Thugs.
Thugs. Busts.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, dude. Cooper's going to be working at McDonald's in the next 2 years. But up next, let's go to safeties here. Now, this is very different, right? Because safeties is such a hard position to fill, strictly because NFL teams are not interested in paying safeties.
Yep.
So once their contract is up, they're up, right? So next man up, let's see what these guys could do. This one might be a little biased, but I feel like I have enough, talk to back it up. I'm going to have the San Francisco 49ers as number 1. Tono Hufanga, I don't know if I should explain too much on that. This guy is like the second coming of Troy Polamalu. This guy is just so freaking amazing. So unfortunate of what happened to him last season where he got injured against the Seattle Seahawks game. But the reason why I'm so high on the Niners is not just because of Hufanga. It's because of someone who stepped up after Hufanga got injured. And I'm talking about Jair Brown. He was a rookie last year. And for him to fill in that spot for the whole season, he solidified that spot as his. I really enjoyed what I saw on those games. And for him to hold his ground in the biggest game in the Super Bowl just meant a lot to me. Of course, they did come out on top, but Jair Brown as a rookie did amazing things. I cannot wait to see what he develops into. Now, after the 49ers, I'm going to play it out, plain and simple right here. Los Angeles Rams are dead last for me. They're dead last.
All right.
And this is where I have trouble because the Arizona Cardinals, they have Budda Baker. And Budda Baker is one of the biggest name safeties in the league, right? But that's just one player. Now we're talking about the safeties as a whole. So here I got to give the edge to the Seattle Seahawks. You got Julian Love, and then you have Jenkins, I believe is who it is, out there. And, I mean, their defense was just fun to watch last year. It was just a whole bunch of young guys trying to make names for themselves. And these guys play physical, and they're just super athletic. So watching these guys out there, I think that those two will have the edge over Budda Baker and whoever else is out there with the Arizona Cardinals. So give me the Niners, Seahawks, Cardinals, Rams.
All right. That's exactly where I was going to put them as well. Rams don't have anybody in that backfield, really. The 49ers, Funga, he's great. When I really hope he comes out just as good as he was after this ACL injury. It used to be before in the back in the day with ACLs, you never knew if they were going to come back the same person. Nowadays with ACL surgery, he should be fine coming back. So as long as he's able to play at the same level he was able to, that he's going to be great. And he's going to put him above everybody else. I do think Julian Love at this point is going to be better than old Budda Baker with the Cardinals. So that's where I'm going to put Julian Love above. And then the Rams last.
Not bad, not bad. Yeah, I agree with everything y'all said. The only thing I wanted to make fun of was one of the last names of one of the Rams safeties, and it's East. And that's how this safety room is. It's just takes them so long to get it right there at safety position. So, yeah, that's why I have the LA Rams last. Budda Baker again. Is a well-known name, like AJ said, but I just think Julian Love and Rayshon Jenkins are going to be a dynamic duo there. So it's new. We have a new guy there, basically at safety in Rayshon Jenkins. Sadly, we couldn't keep the whole gang back together back there with that ugly safety we had. But he still hasn't been picked up by a team, so that shows you about how bad that he did this past year. But yeah, San Francisco and Hufanga, I hope he comes back great, honestly. He was a delight to watch whenever we were over at Age's house watching some San Francisco 49er games. As long as he wasn't playing against the Seahawks, I was happy with him playing lights out when he was on the field. So pretty fun guy to watch.
Honestly, I think it's just the hair. You're watching the hair just flow through the wind and then boom, big old hit. It's so much fun. But up next, we got the defensive line. The Niners invested so heavily into this team. They got to be first. All right. Do I even need to name off the guys? I mean, we got Leonard Floyd. We got Malik. Huh?
Who's there?
Oh, my gosh. Leonard Floyd, the guy who broke Aaron Rodgers last year. Malik Collins, Javon Hargrave, Nick Bosa. I mean, Nick Bosa. I'm just going to, it's Nick Bosa. After that, I want to have the Seattle Seahawks next, just because they drafted a guy who I really did not want them to draft. They got Byron Murphy. So good for the Seattle Seahawks. I think he's going to make that big of an impact on that team. After that, I'm going to have the Rams there with Bobby Brown, and then the Cardinals with whoever they got.
Interesting team.
Very interesting.
It is.
All right. For me, I'm going to have to absolutely agree with AJ. The 49ers, they're still a top dog with Nick Bosa on that team. I do think they lost a lot of depth. They do have those three guys who are going to be great, but I think you guys did lose a lot of depth as far as your D-line and free agency. Seahawks had good role players. Now they have Brian Murphy, who can hopefully step up and be a star for them moving forward. Rams, I mean, this used to be a team that could have fought for number one just a couple years back, and now, I mean, they're barely hanging on to third at this point with the loss of Aaron Donald now retiring. So I'm placing them third. We'll see if they're able to make another Aaron Donald, but that's pretty hard to do. And then Cardinals are going to be last because, yeah, they got ain't nobody on that D-line for them.
Not bad. Yeah, first off, the first two are lickety split, easy to tell. San Francisco has a lot of money on that D-line. They have a lot of great talent, too, on some good deals as well. So this year they should be one of the top D-lines in the league again, since San Francisco takes the cake. Seattle is not so much coming up at their heels, but we're getting a good, I guess, D-line room, you can call it. I don't know what type of defense we're going to go out into this year because, of course, McDonald is making a whole new playbook. He's not using the same one that he did with the Ravens, so it's something totally new. So I like that. But we still need to fit some pieces together. So not to say that we are much better than the LA Rams or the Arizona Cardinals, but at third, I'm going to put the Arizona Cardinals. I do like some of the guys they have. I like B.J. Ojulari. I like Zaven Collins. And I like Justin Jones. Bilal Nichols, I don't know too much about. I don't know if he was on their team last year because that's the position that we all know who was there. So thank God that he's gone. Thank you. But yeah, I agree with Reed. These guys were competing for at least first or second every year just because of Aaron Donald. But luckily he's gone now. So I have them last. I don't think they have anybody.
Wow.
Yeah. All right.
Cool. I like that. I mean, hey, now the Cardinals are starting to get some leadway, but maybe Vince knows something that we don't. But it's true. The Rams are getting older in that position. They lost their big time piece. Now, are they still going to be relevant when it comes to that category? Who knows? We'll see. Hopefully not. But up next, we got the linebacker group. And I feel like this video, people are going to think I'm just so biased when it comes to these guys, right?
A little bit.
Maybe this guy right here, maybe a guy named Fred Anthony Warner, the GOATs, paired up with Dre Greenlaw. I mean, I love these guys, right? These guys are the second coming of Navarro Bowman and Patrick Willis. I got to put my Niners up there. So my Niners, number one. as far as number 2, I think I'm going to keep it going, really. I'm going to have to give it to the Seattle Seahawks here, right? With boy Mafe. I always screw that up at first. But Seattle Seahawks, turns out that they have a pretty decent defense from what I was originally thinking. Up next, I don't know here. I'm kind of stuck between the Rams and the Cardinals, of course. But I think I want to give the edge to the Cardinals here, and then the Rams afterwards. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. So for me, the Niners are number 1 because of Fred Warner. Hufanga is going to be out for a decent amount of the season. If it was an Achilles, right, that he got in the Super Bowl.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's going to be out for a decent amount of time to start the season. They do have that bum, Devondre Campbell, taking his spots. What?
A bum?
He's a bum now.
Oh my, he's not a bum.
He's a bum. He was so horrible last year.
He's going to do great.
I mean, he ain't got to do much against Fred. That's Fred Warner. He ain't got to do much. For me, after that, I don't think any of these teams have that great of a linebacker core. Seahawks, I don't know what was going through their heads, letting go of Brooks, letting him walk out the door. Like, Vincent, what was the thought process there? What was the thought process?
So I think what McDonald wanted was someone who was better against the pass. So when you look at Brooks, when he played against the pass alongside Bobby Wagner, he was horrible. He could not cross any slants. He could not cross any in routes. He always forgot his assignment. So the way that McDonald is going to run his defense, Brooks would not probably have meshed well in it, because you have to be that signal caller, and they didn't think Brooks was going to be that guy. So they have Boye Mafe, but he's usually on the D line, but we have him as our strong side linebacker. So he will most likely not be the play caller. So it's going to either be the new guy, Jerome Baker from the Dolphins, or Terrell Dodson for the Bills. So it's going to be interesting to see what we do.
All right. Well, we'll see if it works out, but losing him, I think, was a huge loss for that linebacker core. But I still had to put them second. I'm okay with Cardinals being number 2 with, I think, Zir White in that middle linebacker position. He's pretty decent. And then, I'm going to put the Rams as last.
Not bad. Yeah, I think San Francisco takes the cake here easily, just because of Fred Warner. And when they have Dre Greenlaw on there too, it's just insane. So I think adding Devondre Campbell to hold that gap for now is pretty good. So I think they take the cake here. I think I'm gonna go with the Seahawks after that, just because of Boye Mafe. I think he is an upcoming star. He is a part of the linebacker room, so that's why I'm gonna give the edge here. But Jerome Baker and Terrell Dodson were some of the best linebackers on their respective teams in the Dolphins and the Bills last year. They were good in pass coverage, and I think that's why we ended up getting Jerome Baker and Terrell Dodson, just because we were getting cooked in the passing game. I mean, we're like almost dead last for the past 3 years against the pass. That's in short routes, mid routes, and deep routes. So definitely trying to build around that. That's why I think we're going to be second here. I think we can actually get that under control. And then I'm going to go with LA after that. They drafted Jared Verse. I liked what Roseboom did with the Rams last year. He didn't have to do much because Aaron Donald was always getting to the quarterback pretty fast. But Roseboom is a good pursuit guy. He can track the ball in the air. He can go from sideline to sideline and get tackles. And Ernest Jones, the fourth, is not so bad himself. But Arizona, I don't know, bro. I don't know what they're doing, man. I swear. Kazir White is probably the only guy of noteworthy there. But I don't know. These guys need like 14 draft picks in order to get it right. So hopefully next year they do a better job.
For sure. Now we enter my least favorite category, which is special teams. Not because I don't like it, but just because the Niners are abysmal in this category. They're not the greatest, and they haven't been the greatest for quite some time. So I'm going to rank these teams as followed. I'm going to have the LA Rams as number one. Of course, I think the kick returners play a very heavy part on this, and they have Kyron Williams as their kick returner. After that, I'm going to have the Seattle Seahawks as number two, with Chenault there as your kick returner. Then after that, I will have the San Francisco 49ers at number three. We used to have Ray McLeod, which I loved Ray, but unfortunately, business is business. He moves on. We have our former rookie out there, Ronnie Bell, Michigan guy, go blue. And then we have the Arizona Cardinals, who they got an absolute bum.
Yep, they did.
An absolute bum in DJ Dallas.
Poor boy.
Yeah. I was gonna say something so bad, but yeah, I hope he does great. Okay, your turn, Reed.
I would have to go somewhere around there. In my opinion, it's really hard to rank special teams. Just because there's so many different aspects as far as the punt, the coverage of it, the return, the kick, etc. It's so hard to rank special teams, and special teams players are always changing year after year. So it's really hard to guess how they'll be in the off season, in my opinion. But I'm okay with this ranking right here. Rams, I think they have a good special team core. Seahawks, they're decent. 49ers, as usual, they have not been good for the past few years. Jake Moody was supposed to bring stability to that kicker position and only brought AJ more headaches and more slammed beers on Sundays. Now, and then the Cardinals are going to be number last, in my opinion.
Not bad. Yeah, I will start with Cardinals being last. DJ Dallas is not a good kick returner. We had him there for the past 2 years in 2022 and 2023. And I mean, I don't remember ever him getting past the 35-yard line on any return, whether it be punt return or kick return, no matter where he gets the ball. He's just really bad. He's really bulky. He's not very agile like you want your kick returner to be. The good thing that I'll say about him is he doesn't fumble the ball out there on kick return or punt return. So that's the only good thing about it. But it's just not good from the kickers. It's not good. So after that, I'm going to go with the LA Rams. I do think that Kyron Williams, if he is going to be their kick returner and punt returner, that's crazy. He's going to be electric if he's healthy and can stay on the field. If not, I don't know what they're going to do. That's why I'm putting them at third. I just don't know about their kicker as much as I do as mine and AJ's. Don't know if he punts the ball well. I don't know if they kick the ball well, as they're going to have a new kicker. So that's my only reason for putting them third. Next, I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers just because I think the only thing holding them back here is their kicker, Jake Moody. Hopefully he can be better. Punter, he's right there with the Seattle Seahawks punter, in my opinion. Wisnowski and my man from Texas UT, Michael Dixon. I think he's great. So that's why I have us first, just because we have Jason Myers, who is a solidified kicker. He does miss every now and then, but usually we don't bring him out as long as it's not past 50 yards. So Jason Myers is pretty accurate. Michael Dixon is pretty accurate with his punts. He's got one of the biggest legs in the league. And I think adding Laviska Shenault out there to be our kick returner and hopefully our punt returner, because right now they have Jake Bobo there. Don't know how that's going to work. But I think Laviska Shenault gives us a good edge with all the new rules that are happening with the kick return. So I think that's why we're first.
It's going to be very curious to see how these kickoffs go now, right? I mean, they're trying to protect these players, and the game's going to change dramatically, but before we even know it. So we'll see what happens. But, guys, this is our rankings here. If we do a quick little, rundown, it looks like the Niners are first, Seattle second, Rams are third, and Cardinals are sadly last. Not sadly, but it's very sad how easy it is to tell that they're last. But do you all feel like this is how it's going to end up in the season? Is this the division rankings? You let us know. And also looking good says, and the San Francisco 49ers win the Super Bowl. What a game, what a year, what a night. Is that what this ranking means? I sure hope so. Now still looking good. For my sanity, I sure hope this is the case.
No.
Yeah. You know, today, a Kansas City Chiefs fan called me a bandwagon.
Oh, gosh.
You've always been. You've never stuck with this team through the hard times, AJ.
You're right. I've never stuck with this team through the hard. My whole life's been a hard time, Reed. My whole life.
What do you mean?
My whole life's been a hard time.
You've seen so many Super Bowls won.
Dude.
What do you mean?
Gosh, I'm 25 years old, dude. You remember that one time we drove to San Antonio and the whole way over there I was just talking about the Niners? See, Vince remembers because he just wanted me to shut up the whole time. But let us know what you think about our rankings, and let us know what division you want us to see do next, because honestly, this is kind of fun. It gets us more an idea to what to look forward to this upcoming season. And I mean, I just cannot wait. Like Dizzle said, we're 100 days away. I'm just so excited. So freaking excited. But remember, we are starting fantasy football mock drafts next month. So if you guys are interested in doing the mock drafts with us, participating, being on the podcast here with us, let us know either down in the comments, our DMs, through Discord, and we'll set that up. But yes, starting next month, we will be doing fantasy football mock drafts. And I remember last year, I was doing them on Thursdays. So if you guys are available, we will be doing that Thursdays as of right now. But you guys have anything else to say before we get out of here?
No.
No, man. I'm just excited. Football is 1 week closer every week. So
every week, man.
Roger Campbell's a bum.
My blood pressure gets higher as we get closer. It's crazy. Not because of your comment, Reed. Not because of your comment. Sometimes. Senor Toxico, everybody. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. And until next time, keep on grinding.